Hello and welcome to the America F1 series. This is the Division 1 events here in Canada, round 4 of the championship. Tom Cairns in the commentary box giving you the details for tonight's showing. 19 drivers are here for the 80-minute qualifying session that will determine the grid for the Canadian Grand Prix. There'll be 35 laps around the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve near the Lawrence River, or St. Lawrence River, that is, near the Ile Notre Dame, parts of Montreal. So qualifying is about to begin. Clearly, we've got one of the newcomers who's got a fan, actually. Crescent75 saying, let's go Choi, or Chai, however you pronounce it. It is expected to be dry throughout. We're just waiting for some cars to make their way out onto the circuit. There's no Q1, Q2 or Q3. It's just a 18-minute qualifying session to determine the grid. Now, in terms of the championship, Tcairnsmedia was able to inherit the race win in Azerbaijan after his time penalty of 5 seconds for, I think it was for either speed in the pit lane or for a collision earlier on in the race. That was rescinded. That way he was able to take his second victory of the season, his second in a row. WSP, who would be racing here tonight, is not for some unknown reasons, so he won't be taking part tonight. His seat at AlphaTauri will be filled by JJ. Gamer James is not in for tonight for Ferrari. His replacement with Jai Gallegos, who is Mexican apparently. He's filled in for him. Sarli in the Renault is not in. He's replaced by Gilfie. Tragic Kevin in the Red Bull, not in. He's replaced. In fact, Ray E46, who would be in the other Red Bull, is not in tonight. So both of them are replaced by Jim Strav, who raced for McLaren last week, and Acid Masters, who had raced for Racing Point in a round or two in Austria last season. So here's PLG Jackson, back in the Racing Point after missing Azerbaijan last week. He'll be looking to make up for lost rounds. Tcairnsmedia has a 14-point lead in the title race. He's got a great opportunity to extend that with WSP's absence. Here's PLG Jackson, who will be the first driver to start a flying lap. Let's see if he can keep his car within the confinements of the racetrack. So down to turn 1, using a lot of curb down into the first turn. Positioning the car nicely for turn 2, using the outside curb to gather as much speed as possible before they get to turn 3. Not too much curb on the inside. Through 3 and 4. This is 5. You want to take the inside line as much as you can. Turn 6 and 7 gets to. He had to correct a bit of steering there as he entered. DRS open before he comes down underneath the bridge into turn 8, and then through 9, and as he comes to turn the hairpin of turn 10, there's a right hand king of 11 coming up, and then turns 12 and 13 round up a lap of the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Canada. Jim Strav is seemingly not going to be second at time, so he'll be started at the back. But PLG Jackson is coming through the chicane. Does he keep his car within the confinements of the racetrack? Yes, he does. Takes a lot of curve on the inside, but not too much. And this is going to be a 1 minute 8.4 for the Racing Point driver. We'll go to some other drivers. Jai Gallegos is over the line. It's a 1 minute 10 for him. It's a 1 minute 10.7, I should say. Radicon goes up to second on a 1 minute 9.9. And then we've got a Renault crossing over the line. Just looking to see who that is. That's Denmark, who posts, well, what would have been a 1 minute 10.7. It's been invalidated because he's exceeded track limits. We've got a Red Bull of Aston Martin's just beginning a fast time, beginning a fast lap. Switchback over the line for a 1 minute 9.0. I think he's had that lap chalked off for exceeding track limits. Haas has gone over the line. That's Tilwick in the Haas, I should say. Bishop Singer going up to third on a 1 minute 10.2. pushed down by Juninho, goes up to second on a 1 minute 9.5. The next one over the line is what looks like De Simpi in the McLaren. It's on the medium compound. He posts a 1 minute 11.0. We've got the other AlphaTauri of JJ, who's had his lap invalidated, so we'll come away from him. G. Galagos, I think, is on another flying lap. 4/10 faster than before, and it's legal, so he's able to improve to go up to 4th on a 1 minute 10.1, so 6/10 up from his previous best. That's a good lap time, that, from G. Galagos. Not sure if he's got enough fuel to do another run before he comes back in, but so far so good from the America F1 Series debutant. The Red Bull of Acid Masters is next to cross over the line. It's going to be a 1 minute 10.1 for him. Not too bad. Could do with some more time being found. Tilwick coming back into the pits, whilst we've got the Williams of Bishop's Finger, who should be making his way back into the pits as well. JJ right behind, or Juninho, who may be completing another lap. No, he's in the pits as well. So coming back in, he comes. De Simpi on a fast lap in the McLaren. He's 200ths down through sector 2. We could still see an improvement here, and we do see an improvement. It's a 1 minute 10.8, goes up to 8 with that time, but he has set that time on the medium compound. So potentially more time to be found from him. Binati in the second Haas, beginning his first flying lap. And then we've got a Mercedes of Aaron Carey, who's just on his out lap at the moment before he starts his next time lap. Acid Masters has just had his lap invalidated. Gilfie right behind. He's posted a 1 minute 10.2 so far. He's 4/10 up through sector 2 from his previous best, so he's on course. What would have been a better lap time has now had his lap invalidated. So the lap times are coming very, very quickly, given it is a very short circuit, is the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal. Who else is on a fast lap at the moment? De Simpi's most certainly not. It's not a very quick lap. Binati is. It's a 42.6 through sector 2. He is on his first time lap. There is a Ferrari right behind him. That'll be Stoke Blake, who's on an out lap. So Binati doesn't need to worry about the Ferrari behind him. Rear wing open on the Haas. Down the back straight. Coming towards turns 12 and 13. Which should see him go onto the start-finish straight. DRS open. Still has some ERS left he can use. Over the line he comes. Into 1 minute 11.6 for the owner of the America F1 Series. Can he find some more time in the laps to come? We've got a Mercedes crossing over the line. That'll be Aaron Carey. Doesn't take too much curb on the outside. It's a 1 minute 9.3, and that's set on the medium compound. So it's a good time, that, from Carey. We've got a Renault who's about to cross over the line. Or say cross over the line. Gilfie's just come back into the pits. Vadicon out on another set of soft compound tyres. He's beginning to start his next flying lap. Got a McLaren next. That'll be De Simpi. Stoke Blake on a 42.0 in sector 2. DRS is open on the Ferrari. There's a racing point ahead of him. He's just popping back into the pits, so he should have a clean run to the line. 10 minutes to go in this qualifying session. Stoke Blake's lap time has just been invalidated, so that one won't count. It would have been a 1 minute 10.5, which would have seen him in 9th place, but that is to not happen. Ellock on a 41.1 through sector 2 on the mediums. Goes over the line to go 3rd fastest on a 1 minute 9.4. Not a bad time from him. He did win the race on the road in Azerbaijan, but because of WSP and Cyclonado's time penalties being rescinded, he was demoted to... Just trying to see where he was demoted to. He was demoted to 3rd as a result of it, which was a shame, because he came through from the back of the grid, so he finished that high up in that race alone. If you haven't seen the race, do feel free to go check it out. It's on the Tom Cairns official YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe as well. Just looking sales to see who is on a fast lap. Denmark most certainly is. He's yet to post a time in this session. There are 7 drivers who have yet to post a time, including Jim Sharp, who won't be setting a time as he's already retired from the session. He's thinking more about race setup or car setup for it. So Denmark coming through, rear wing open on the Renault, and it'll be a 1 minute 9.6 that puts him 5th with that time. JJ is next for AlphaTauri, who's coming through the final chicane now. He seems rather cautious through that. Perhaps he just wants to make sure he got a time on the board. It's a 1 minute 10.4 for one of the reserve drivers for tonight. Got the Renault of Gylfi crossing over the line. That may be just the start of the flying lap for him, or whether he's just had a lap time invalidated and made to go again. The racing point of Switchback is on the back straight, beginning to start the flying lap. So Switchback coming over the line to start a flying lap for Racing Point, who is also on a flying lap. We know Tillich is not, because he's on an out lap. Denmark, I believe, is coming back into the pits, so he's just allowing the Haas to go through to start a flying lap. So let's go to JJ, who must be on a flying lap. In fact, he's backed off on this occasion, so we'll come away from him. It just seems every time they're cutting to a driver, they're just not on a fast lap at the moment. It's that busy out on the racetrack. Here's Elog in the Alfa Romeo. He'll be coming back into the pits at the end of this lap, I should think. Unless he's actually starting another flying lap. He's got enough fuel on board and ERS in to do another run. Juninho crossing over the line to start another flying lap himself, hoping for an improvement from before. We've got the Williams of Bishop's Finger, I think, is just crossing over the line to start a flying lap of his. And then we should see the Racing Point of Switchback coming through to post his first time of this qualifying session. He needs a better race this week than last week with Switchback. He's not having a good start to the season, considering where he ended up last season. He was 4th overall, or 3rd in the championship. And so far this season, Switchback has had, looking at where he is, he's had a 7th, a 9th and a non-finish. So Switchback needs a better result here than he has done in previous weeks. Elog backing off on this occasion, probably made a mistake somewhere. Is Juninho, who's on a better lap than before. T10's up through sector 2 from his previous best. What time can he find in the last sector? Now, should he nail the last 2 corners without invalidating the lap, which is what he has managed to do, he will not be improving. And because he's exceeded the track limits there, that will be the next lap time of his being deleted as well. Now, Des Simpi's up to 7th on his latest lap. 1 minute 9.7. Bishop's Finger crossing the line. He posted a 1 minute 10.2 last time around. It's not going to be an improvement this time here. It's a 1 minute 13.1, which is nowhere near the pace he had set earlier on. Radicon, I'm just trying to see who had just posted the time actually. I think it was maybe Chi Galagos who's gone 9th, although it may have been someone else who posted a better time than before. We'll come away from it anyway. Stoke Bloke going up to 12th place on a 1 minute 10.2. We've got McLaren coming through now. That'll be Gummers Indu, who has just had his lap time invalidated, so he'll need to go again. Now Bishop's Finger on a better lap than before. 300ths up through sector 2, so it's not a big improvement from what he had last time around. DRS should be opening on Bishop's Finger's car, unless he's decided to back out of it and go on another set of soft tyres for the last run. The session's gone quick already, actually, hasn't it? 4.5 minutes to go. Pjorgi Jackson fastest by 0.8 of a second over Gylfi in 2nd place. Then it's Kerry, 3rd fastest, but he's posted his first time on the medium compound. Elog is 4th likewise on the medium compound, so should they go onto a set of the soft compound for the last run, they may try and find enough time to leapfrog Pjorgi Jackson to pole position. And Rodicon is out on circuit. His first sector time is not so good, so we'll come away from him. JJ's first sector time in comparison to what he had set previously is less than 0.2 off. In sector 2, he's over a 10th up from his PB, so JJ on course for a better time here. He's probably going to go in front of Bishop's Finger and Stokebloke, providing he keeps his AlphaTauri within the confinements of the racetrack, which that last chicane has caught many drivers out. And he's done it again, so 2 cautions into the last corner and turning in too late. So JJ loses that lap, and he loses the next one as well. B Natinata in 16th place, a 10th up through sector 1. Gomez Indu's just gone through turn 9, approaching turn 10 now, which is the hairpin. 42 through sector 2. There's a Renault up ahead of him, who I believe is on an outlet. But Gomez Indu should be fine. He needs to get a lap on the board, really. He'll probably have a cool-down lap after this one, and then go for one final effort to try and improve his time and position. So Gomez Indu over the line. He's looking at a 1 minute 10 here, I should think. So 1 minute 10.9, that puts him 14th. B Natinata over the line for Haas. He does not improve his time, so he stays in 17th place. We've got a Renault next up. It's Gilfie, who's just starting a flying lap, actually. So the next driver to cross over the line will be Pure G Jackson, who's just completing his outlap. And AlphaTauri is next up, which is JJ, who will need to go again. And he's hit the barrier on the outside, which won't do his speed on the start-finish straight any good. So we'll come away from him. Switchback is, or was, on a fast lap. He's just had that lap invalidated, and so doesn't improve his position. Drivers just need to learn to not exceed the track limits. I know there's some time to find, but you'd rather get a lap in than not at all. And PLG Jackson, I say PLG Jackson, I think the other racing point of Switchback has spun. And Junior Ko had to take avoiding action. He damaged his front wing as well, so Switchback, Switchback's been given a grid penalty for causing a collision with Juninho, and so he'll go back 5 places on the grid. Here's Gilfie. Can he get close to Jackson to take in pole position? Kerry improves to 2nd place on the mediums. 1 minute 9.0 for him. Gilfie's not going to improve on this lap, so we'll come away from him. B Natinata not going to improve either. And Aston Masters retired from the session. Want to go to the racing point of Pure G Jackson, who is not on a better lap. He's had his lap invalidated, actually. So no improvement. Juninho is further behind. He's not on a good lap, actually. So he'll be staying where he is. Bishop's Finger looking to start one more flying lap, providing he keeps the car within the limits of the racetrack. Cyclonado is not coming out on track, so he'll be starting at the back of the grid with Jim Strav. Bishop's Finger pushing too hard, and so that's his lap time over there. Denmark coming back into the pits. His session, or his qualifying, is done. DeSimpi, is he on a better lap than before? He keeps the car within the limits of the racetrack, but I don't think this lap is as good as we'd set before. No, it's not. So he stays 7th with that time. It's not a bad effort, actually, from DeSimpi, what he set earlier. Gilfie has had his lap invalidated. He won't be going any higher. We've got a racing is that a racing point coming through? I think that's Pure G Jackson who's coming back into the pits as well. Bishop's Finger won't be improving, and neither. Well, in fact, Stokebloke is on a fast lap. He probably won't take pole position, but at least he can get his Ferrari up the order. Now Stokebloke, who has had a rocky start to the season, it has to be said. He's had a 6th, a 10th and a 10th, so he's picked up some decent points. He's finished every race so far, but he could do with a higher position than 6th. He hasn't finished any higher than 5th during his time in the America F1 Series, in the top division anyway. And here's DeSimpi, who is on a last gasp effort. Stokebloke backed out of his last run. So he'll be staying 9th or lower. He's simply crossing over the line. He's on a much better time than before. It'll be a 1 minute 9.6. Doesn't improve. So Pure G Jackson is on pole position for the Canadian Grand Prix, ahead of Aaron Kerry alongside. And it's Gylfi in 3rd, with Elog in 4th, ahead of Juninho and Denmark on row 3. And it's Disimpi ahead of Radicon. Stokebloke and Chi Gallegos makes it an old Ferrari row 5. Acid Masters ahead of Bishop's Finger. Then it's JJ in front of Gamma's Indu. Switchback in front of Tilwick. Then it's B Natty Natter in 17th place. Cyclonado didn't set a time, neither did Jim Strav. So just a rundown on the grid. PRG Jackson on pole position ahead of Aaron Kerry. Gylfi in 3rd. Now Elog is in 4th position, as well as both those drivers on row 2. Then it's Juninho who will take a 5-place grid penalty because of a collision involving him and another driver. We'll find out what that is very shortly. He'll drop down to 10th, so it's Denmark and Disimpi on row 3, Radicon and Stokebloke on row 4, G Gallegos and Juninho on row 5, Aston Masters and Bishop's Finger on row 6, JJ and Gummas Indu on row 7, Switchback and Tilwick on row 8, Binatinata Cyclonado on row 9, Jim Strav in 90th position. In fact, Switchback will drop to the back of the grid for a grid penalty, and Juninho, looking what he had done, I think it was for the collision with PRG Jackson, or, well, not PRG Jackson, it was with one of the Racing Point drivers. It was Switchback, the other one. Hence why he's dropped down 5 positions. But there's a long race ahead of us. Some of these drivers are better than others. Now, can Carey make up good ground from 2nd on the grid? In fact, victory for Carey would move him above WSP into 2nd place in the championship. It'll be interesting to see what Cyclonado can do from the back of the field. He'll cut his way through the field, I would imagine, in terms of where he'll be by the end of the race is another thing. I would expect a lot of time penalties to be dished out to drivers for exceeding track limits, so there's that to bear in mind. And hopefully we won't have any drivers resetting their car back onto the racetrack should they go off the circuit. Otherwise, they will be penalised for it. So the formation lap is about to get underway. Let's take a look to see who is starting on what compounds for the start of the race. We are expecting a dry race throughout, so all the drivers will need to use at least 2 different compounds throughout the 35 laps. So everyone, apart from Aaron Kerry, Elog, Acid Masters, Cyclonado and Jim Strav, are all starting on the soft compound. Aaron Kerry, Elog, Acid Masters, Cyclonado, Jim Strav all starting on the medium. So there's no drivers starting on the hards. They clearly think it's too slow of a tyre to be starting the race on. They really want to make sure they are getting track position for tonight's event. So Piotr Jackson, who missed last weekend's event in Azerbaijan, if he was to take victory, that would move him into 3rd place in the championship, no matter where Carey would finish. It would give him a good haul of points, and what would benefit him even more is if Cyclonado was to get a really poor result out of this one. Now, Jackson, who won in Singapore last season well, there was only one division in the America F1 Series in Season 1. Got 2 divisions in the America F1 Series this season now. The 2nd division race here in Canada was done last night. The Division 1 race here today. And Piotr Jackson returns to the grid at the end of the formation lap. And all the cars will line up. There's quite a gap actually between the AlphaTauri of Juninho and the Red Bull of Acid Masters. Juninho will be looking to fight his way through the field as well after that grid drop. He may have a case on that, but it's too late to probably dispute it, to be honest with you, because the penalty's already taken. So the cars are taking up positions on the grid for the start of this Canadian Grand Prix. Round 4 of the America F1 Series. Can Piotr Jackson close in on Cyclonado in the championship? Well, the field is lined up now. When they go out, we'll be racing here in Montreal at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Lights out, and away we go. Piotr Jackson gets off the line and covers his line over Aaron Carey, and a good start from Gilfie, who makes a lunge down the inside into turn 1 on the Mercedes, but has to contend with 3rd place, and now he has to fight it out with the Alfa Romeo of Elog coming out of turn 2 and into turn 3, and Elog has the inside line into turn 3 and goes up into 3rd position. The Renaults are now side by side coming through turns 4 and 5, and looks so the Renault of Denmark gets up into 5th place ahead of Gilfie. So Gilfie's had a nightmare start from where he started, and now the McLaren of DeSimpi is looking to get by up into 5th place. But Piotr Jackson is still in the lead. It's Carey in 2nd place on the mediums, followed by Elog, Denmark, Gilfie, DeSimpi, Radicon, Stokely, Galagos, I should say, and Bishop's Finger ran out the top 10 in the Williams. Cyclonado's up to 15th at the start, so he's made up a few places already. Giannino's down a place from where he started. And switch back. Oh, and they got a spinner. It's the Ferrari 2 Galagos, the debutant in the America F1 Series, has spun round on the exit of turn 10. He's got a lot of ground to make up from there. So Piotr Jackson's over a second in front of Aaron Carey by the end of lap 1. Elog is in 3rd place. There's Denmark, Gilfie, DeSimpi, who's trying to fend off from Radicon. And Piotr Jackson has set, well, it's the fastest up at this point. We've only done 1 lap so far. Stokely is in 8th place, trying to challenge for more points here today. He has finished in the points in every single race so far, and looks to continue that momentum through this one. There's switchback up to 12th on the back of the grid, so he's made up good ground. Can he keep his car clean though throughout the race? He's right behind the AlphaTauri of JJ, who has been called in as one of the reserves for this evening because of other drivers' absence, including WSP, who would be driving that AlphaTauri tonight. And DeSimpi has had a moment. DeSimpi spun coming out of turn 7 in the McLaren, and I think he may have damage to the right hand side of his front wing. Yes, so you can tell because he's understeering almost like crazy coming out of turn 8 and 9, and that's allowing the AlphaTauri of JJ to get through, or the other AlphaTauri of Giannino. And in fact, switchback gets down the inside of JJ but goes in too deep. He's up to 11th anyway, switchback, as DeSimpi goes backwards down the field. In fact, he's down to 15th place, so if I was DeSimpi, I'd highly be considering coming into the pits for a change of nose at the end of this lap. But he's got to be careful because he's got Jim Straub right alongside him as they enter the final chicane. In fact, he does come into the pits. And Cyclonado, 14th place, about to make a move on Acid Masters for 30. Oh, they come together! And Cyclonado spun, and the two come together! And Cyclonado spun round. He will not be too pleased with that. With Aston Masters driving, Aston Masters surely has to take blame for that, because Cyclonado was within a car's length on the left-hand side of him, and the two have come together. What an appalling chain of events that is. And both of them drop down the order, and Aston Masters has to be careful here, because there is a thing about driving standards in the America F1 Series. If he crashes intentionally or anything like that, there will be serious repercussions post-race. So Aaron Carey still in 2nd place ahead of Elog, looking very content at the moment. Radicon in 6th place behind the second of the Renaults, that is Gilfie ahead of him. We've got 4 drivers with time penalties to their name, and someone's had an incident set to 3, not sure who that is. We'll come to it in a moment. Might have been, I can't remember if it was Switchback or someone else, but we'll come to that shortly. And looks like Chi Galagos has gone for a spin somewhere. Well, we've got Switchback in the pit. He's probably had a moment somewhere. He's getting a new front wing after 3 laps. Aston Martin's got a time penalty, as is Chi Galagos, who has probably picked up damage somewhere on that lap alone. And he's got a lot of ground to make up on the rest of the field if he's to salvage anything from this race. Stokeberg is doing a fine job in 8th place though in the Ferrari, closing in on Bishop's Finger in the Williams. Cyclonado making up for lost time after that, coming together with Aston Masters on the last lap. Oh, someone's in the wall. Bishop's Fingers hit the wall on the exit of turn 9. He was very lucky not to end his race there, and the AlphaTauris of JJ and Giannino get past him. Bishop's Finger pushing way too hard. He needs to get the car slowed down. Don't come together with them when you've just damaged your front wing there, mate. Jim Sharp hits in the back of him. But I think that's partly because Bishop's Finger had to slow down to avoid coming together with the AlphaTauri. Now he's got to be careful not to come together with Jim Sharp actually now. And Bishop's Finger will be pitting in for a new front wing. Please don't run into the back of him, please, Bishop's Finger. Thank you very much. And so he pits in for a new nose. Now I wonder if there'll be some discussions after the race between that accident between Cyclonado and Aston Masters. Aston Masters should have been looking in his mirrors more rather than cutting across on Cyclonado at the wrong moment. Radicon in 6th position behind Gilfie still. At least he's kept his car out of trouble so far. Stoke Bloke in 7th place now. Eugenio in 8th and JJ 9th. Jim Straub making good ground from the back of the field. He's up to 10th place ahead of Cyclonado, who's making up for lost time. And someone's had an off. It's Switchback, I think, who's had a moment's down at turn 3. I think his season's going from bad to worse, isn't it? Denmark coming through. Oh, someone's had a moment somewhere. That'll be just Simpy. He's had a shocker of a race so far. After qualifying so well, he's wrecked his front wing again. So Gilfie in 5th position. Jim Straub going past JJ up to 9th. Cyclonado looking to follow suit. Goes to the outside of the AlphaTauri as they enter turn 3. Who's going to break the latest? It's Cyclonado who gets ahead. So Cyclonado moving up into the points now on the medium compound. Up into 10th place he goes. Jim Straub is next up for him. He's going to have DRS as well to close in. So there's Gilfie and Vadacom. Kamazindu getting a time penalty as well for exceeding shot limits too many times. So this is the Williams. He's going to have the rear wing wide open on the back straight. Still no move there, but I think Cyclonado is going to have more momentum on the exit of the last chicane to get in front of the the Red Bull driver, I should say. Georgie Jackson's got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. That'll be for exceeding shot limits. The Red Bull not giving in on the Williams, but he has to do so on this occasion. Cyclonado puts his Williams up into 9th place. Janino is next up for him. Georgie Jackson coming up to his teammate actually now. Switchback has been falling down the order of late. JJ's in the pits for a new front wing. Or he was in for a new front wing. Gets out in front of Bishop's Finger. Now Jackson's lead is coming down to 1.4 seconds. It seems though his soft tyres are beginning to go away. Whilst he is coming into his window on the mediums. And the window is now open for those who have started on the mediums, I believe. Denmark is in the pits now for Renault. Doesn't look as though he's got damage to his car, so this is very much a scheduled pit stop. Goes onto the medium tyres. And out he goes once again. Sindu and Tilwick go by. Denmark will rejoin ahead of Binatinata. Juninho getting a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. Now Aaron Kerry has a good opportunity to get by Jackson to take the lead of the Canadian Grand Prix. We're on lap 8 out of 35, so plenty of time for Kerry to get the job done. Now does he risk it, or will he wait for Jackson to pit in and then to gain track position? He's got 4 seconds in hand actually over Elog behind, and Jackson is in the pits for Racing Point. Now it'll be interesting to see what tyres he will choose to go on. Will it be the mediums? The answer is yes, I believe. Yeah, so he's on the mediums now, and he's on his way. So Kerry takes the lead with Elog second. Gilfie goes up to third position. I think Jackson should rejoin in fourth place via the faster pit exit. There's Stoke Lake ahead of him, and Cyclonado. Now this is important actually for Jackson, because Cyclonado is one of the faster drivers in the field. He'll be going for victory here today, and PLG Jackson gets through ahead of Stoke Lake and gaining so much more momentum on the exit. Jackson goes to the outside through 5 into turn 6. He comes and has to slot back in behind Cyclonado before they go down the back straight between turns 7 and 8. Jackson side by side as they enter the corner, and that's the Racing Point driver going up into 4th position. Now you don't lose that much time in the pits here in Canada, which is good for the drivers, because there'll be a mixture of strategies going on. Silver gets a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. So Aaron Kerry coming through to complete 9. Jim Straub has now got, he's got ahead of Stoke. He's got ahead of him now with DRS. PRG Jackson's race going from bad to worse, because he's got another 3 seconds of time penalty added. Gilfie's in the pits for Renault, going on to the medium compound. Stoke Bloke doing the same. I think Tilwick will follow suit as well. He does, and he's on his way again. So can Tilwick get another points finish out of today's race? We've got a spinner, that's a Switchback, who's gone for a spin down at turn 8 and 9. He's continued on, but I can't see him scoring any points from what we've seen so far in this race. Now, if he's picked up damage, yeah, he's picked up damage on the left-hand side of his front wing, you can clearly see. So if he chooses to pit, I wonder if he'll call it quits, because he's way down the order, and I doubt he's going to get any points out of this race. Yeah, he's in the pits. I don't know if he'll choose to carry on. We'll find out very shortly. Jackson pushing hard in third position. Cyclonado has also got a time penalty to his name. That's 3 seconds of to his name. Jackson posting a new fastest lap of the race. Now helping catch Elog in front of him. Doesn't need to be pushing too hard. Well, he sort of does, because he's got a 6-second time penalty. I think Switchback is going to go to the end on the hard tyres. Right, racing for pride now, to be honest with you. Here's JJ, right behind Gomez Indu. And Jackson's race gets even worse now. He's got another 3 seconds of time penalty added. So not good so far. And Chai has a #1 fan tuning in. Well, if you're a Chai Galagos fan, I'm afraid he's not going to be winning this race. He's not even in the top 10 at the moment. And with that time penalty of his, it's not going to help his efforts either. He had that spin on the opening lap as well, but saw him drop down the order. And he hasn't recovered since then, but we are on lap 12 only. There's still plenty of time for things to change. Gilfie, who has lost out to Radicon in the pit stop, so Radicon's got ahead of Gilfie for 7th place. Denmark is next up from him. There are 5 drivers who haven't pitted yet in this race. They are Aaron Kerry, Elog, Cyclonado, Jim Straub and Acid Masters. And there's plenty of drivers getting time penalties now, so we'll come away from that for a moment. Enquiries still leads on the mediums as Elog pits. He'll probably go onto the hard tyres. Will save him another pit stop later on. In fact, no, he's going onto the soft tyres, so he wants to go on a short second stint. Can he get out in front of Denmark, maybe? Yes, I think he will. He may even get out in front of Jimstrav if he's quick enough. He does get out in front of Jimstrav. So Elog has now got a track position. Cyclonado is up ahead of him, but Cyclonado has yet to make a pit stop. So Elog can use the track position he's got now to put in some fast laps to put Aaron Carey under pressure. He's at the hairpin now of turn 10. Will he decide to pit in to cover off the Alfa Romeo, or will he stay out and go on a different strategy? We'll go back to the battle for 7th place because Gylfi's now ahead of Radicon. So Gylfi's got ahead of the Mercedes, and the Mercedes is surely going to have the DRS behind the Renault. And Jackson's out. Jackson's in the pits and he's out of the race. Now that's come as a shock. Why's that happened? Jackson's in the pits. He's retired. Has he got a problem? Has he had an issue with the car? Whatever it is, he's retired in the pits. He's out of the race. Now that's come as a shock. Now, if I could be filled in on what's happened, that would be very much helpful, but PRG Jackson's race is over. He's not going to be taking the victory after dominating so much in qualifying. At least it doesn't intervene with the race as well, because had he crashed out, we would have ended up with a safety car. But all of this plays into Aaron Carey's hands at the moment, or even Elog's actually. It's anyone's race now with PRG Jackson out of it. So Elog in third, 1.3 seconds behind second place Cyclonado. And Cyclonado pits, so that allows Elog to have even more track position to close in on Aaron Carey. He's 18.8 seconds behind the Mercedes. Cyclonado pitting, goes into the hard tyres, so he's going on a one-stop strategy it seems, and with a new front wing. That'll be for the contact, I would imagine, with Aston Masters, which didn't help Cyclonado's cause. He'll rejoin probably. Can he get out in front of the Ferrari? No, he can't. Cyclonado exits the pits in 9th place. Denmark behind Jimstrav. Elog getting a time penalty now for exceeding track limits too many times. That won't help his chances. I know he's pushing ever so hard. Jimstrav's trying to get by Switchback, who's I think still controlled by a human being, but because he's a lap behind, his car is having to be ghosted. So Denmark closes in on the Red Bull. Denmark on the fresher tyres than the Red Bull is. Pulls alongside, goes to the inside as they come into turn 1. Denmark does the switchback. He bides his time and waits. He doesn't risk it into turn 3. Juninho now gets in front of Stoke Blake for 7th place. Stoke Blake going backwards at the moment. Cyclonado, who's just pitted, is right behind these two. Important that Cyclonado can get by these guys as soon as he can to have any chance of going onto the podium here with Jackson out. Now Carey was to win this race, which is possible. Oh, someone's had a spin. That'll be, I think that's Aston Martin. It's not Aston Martin. It's Jimstrav. Jimstrav's gone for a moment down at turn 9. He's hit the barrier. And the right-hand side of his car is badly damaged, so he will need to pit in. Cyclonado going ahead of Stokebloke up to 8th. Doing ever so well. So Juninho fending off the Williams. We saw a car coming into the pits. That'll be Stokebloke. Well, it's not Stokebloke, so it's Jim Sharp who's pitting for a new front wing. So that elevates Cyclonado off the position. Coming through turns 3 and 4. So down the inside he goes into turn 8. Cyclonado goes through, and that's 6th position. I don't think Juninho is going to fight back on this occasion. He may have DRS on the back straight. And someone else is in trouble. I think it's Chi Gallegos who's gone for another spin. Yeah, he's had a really poor race, hasn't he? This is not good. Switchback is through to 17. Chi Gallegos is just fighting for pride at the moment. There's the Williams of Cyclonado. We'll be putting a lap on him very, very shortly. Tilwick in 9th is having a very strong drive actually. He has got a time penalty of 8 seconds. He wouldn't drop him the position as it stands. So Tilwick, who got a 9th place finish in Azerbaijan last week, could double his points tally today as well. So he's having a better season actually, Tilwick, than he had done in season 1. Aaron Kerry's in the pits now for Mercedes, so I think Chi Gallegos has spun again. Yes, he has. He's out. He's out of the race. He's retired the car on track as well. Now that could be something that the stewards look at, because there is a thing about retiring the car on the racetrack and not in the pits, and it could have an effect on the race itself. It's cleared anyway, but Chi Gallegos' first race in the American F1 Series ends prematurely. Aaron Kerry's pit stop has left him in 2nd place now, behind Elog, who will be pitting again before the end of this race. Aaron does not have to. There is Cyclonado in 6th place. Now those of like Radicon, Gylfi and Denmark, they'll be pitting again before the race is done. Yes, Cyclonado is pushing ever so hard to catch all those in front. And Gylfi won't have DRS to try and have a go on his teammate Juninho, getting another 3 seconds worth of time penalty. That takes his total to 9. We'll have a look at the time penalties a little bit later on. Now Stokebloke will have DRS to have a lunge down the inside of Juninho into the final chicane. And Juninho comes into the pits for a change of tyres, so he's had enough of the soft compound. I'd imagine he'll go onto the mediums. Let's have a look anyway. Yeah, it'll be the medium compound for Juninho, which will take him to the end of the race. Now, there are only 2 drivers who have been mapped by the leader at the moment. The Simpy and Switchback. So here's Elog, who will be thinking about pitting soon. Won't want to leave it too late. He may try and go and stretch out this stint to go on to another set at the soft compound later on. Aaron can just take it very easy at the moment. Denmark in third, Gylfi in fourth, who gets a better exit out of 13. Gets DRS open on the start-finish straight. And he slots back in before they get to turn one. And Denmark has let his teammate go through on the back straight before turn 8. It could well be a strategic option, as Gylfi is on the better tyres at this stage than Denmark is. So he's clear. Elog carries on for another lap. I'd say he's going to do one more lap before he decides to pit in. If he was to pit in now, it's likely he'll go onto the medium compound. And he would rejoin, probably behind Denmark in fourth. So Elog needs to try and stretch out the life on those soft tyres as far as he can before he pits in. He's doing a fine race so far, and he's got a lot of track position at the moment, which he'll want to use. So we're on lap 22 out of 35. Elog takes the lead of the race, but he's got another stop to make. Kerry is the favourite to win this race now, as he's on the hard tyres that have done only 3 laps, and he's got a great opportunity to win this race now. He is the favourite following Pjorgi Jackson's premature exit after retiring the pits. Gylfi in third place on debut, looking very, very good. It's just whether Elog, by the time he pits in, where will he rejoin? There's no doubt he'll get in front of Gylfi. It's just how quick can he be able to do so, and he's got that time penalty of 3 seconds to consider. Tim Strav looking to get ahead of Gummers Indu, round the outside on the back straight before the last chicane, which he does so, which puts him up to 9th place. Tilwick comes into the pits for Haas. He'll drop down a few places, but he will be on better tyres by the time he rejoins. Sid Masters coming down the start from the straight as well. In fact, Tilwick, I think, is serving some of his time penalty. I think it was 5 seconds he served that. Binata also coming into the pits. Medium tyres go on for him. And that's Elog who's in the pits now, the race leader. So what tyres is he going to go on? He's going on the soft compound. So clearly taking a bit of a risk, really. Will he have enough tyres at the end of the race to keep hold of the lead when he needs to try and pull out a gap? Now, he rejoins with an 8-second gap to make up on Carey. And once he gets by him, he'll need to put a 3-second margin in order to win this race. So it's pretty much between Carey and Elog for the race win here in Canada. Denmark in 4th place still, within a second behind his teammate. Radek on another 3 seconds adrift of those two. He is carrying a time penalty of 3 seconds. Psychonado's time penalty is 6. Psychonado's right behind him, actually, with DRS. There's no hope of Psychonado winning this race, to be honest with you. He's too far off the pace, too far down the grid, and after that coming together with Aston Masters, it totally ruined his race, to be honest with you, which I'm sure will be looked at after the race is done. But here's Psychonado looking to go to work on Radicon on the back straight. He'll have DRS, open it goes, He'll go to the inside, and he'll put his Williams up to 5th in front of the Mercedes. And off he goes. And he's got 3 seconds to make up on Denmark. DeSimpi getting a 3-second time penalty. And he's got a time penalty of, well, that's his first 3 seconds of the race, actually, for DeSimpi. Jovincindo's lost the position to Juninho Terry. Juninho going to the outside and going up to 9th place now. Jim Strav is the next driver up. JJ in 14th behind DeSimpi. And JJ on better tyres actually than DeSimpi. DeSimpi's been on his mediums for 18 laps. JJ's have been on for 12, and they are the hard ones. He goes through. We've got an Alfa Romeo Elog coming through as well, just lapping the back mark as he makes his way through. Elog posting a new fastest lap at 1 minute 11.0. That'll help him catch the leader up ahead. Denmark comes into the pits for his final stop. Soft tyres it will be. And he exits the pits as Stoke bloke comes back into the pits. He's done 15 laps on the mediums. Imagine he'll do... Oh, there's a coming together between Jim Strav and Juninho. Now, whoever's fault that was, I do not know. But Juninho's picked up damage to his front wing on the left-hand side. So Stoke bloke exits the pits well ahead of Aston Masters. He will get out ahead of him. Yeah, no problem there. So Aston Masters protects 10th place. So JJ all over the back of DeSimpi for 13th position. Going to the inside, and that should be no problem for him. In fact, the McLaren's going into the pits. It's a good job JJ stayed on the right-hand side because DeSimpi was coming in. So Clark moves up a place at least anyway. Syconado's race goes from bad to worse as he's picked up another 3 seconds of time penalty. As it stands, he would drop behind Gilfie. So Syconado needs to pick up the pace if he's to salvage a podium. Elk now 3 seconds behind, oh, not 3 seconds, 5 seconds behind Kerry, who continues to lead. 5 seconds is the gap. There's no back markers in front of them that are near, so it's pretty much a straight fight between these two. Gilfie in 5th place, leapfrogged actually by Denmark in the pits. Natsu with another 3 seconds added to his time penalty. Syconado's time penalty, in fact, would leave him in front of Denmark. Radicon in 6th, Jim Strav 7th, who started from the back. Juninho may have a say on that though. Will these two keep it clean this time? They do keep it clean. Juninho will be determined to complete the move on the start-finish straight. Into the slipstream. Can he go to the outside? The answer is no. Jim Strav covers his line and protects the position. Aston Masters comes in. The gap down to 3 seconds between Carey and Elog in the battle for the lead. The bad news for Elog is that there's a Red Bull just coming out ahead of him. He'll need to lap. Hopefully that won't be too much of a distraction for him. Although the Red Bull is going to be on softer tyres than Carey, so he may be able to get by rather easily to unlap himself. But Carey is now 7 laps away from victory. No interruptions in this race. No virtual safety cars, no safety cars. Jim Straub getting back ahead of Giannino Carey as well. Let's go back up into 7th place. Let's have a look at the time penalties now. So Elog's got 3 seconds worth of time penalty. Cyclonado's got 9. Radicon's got 3. The driver with the most is Gamazindu with 20. And I can imagine that he'll drop down a place behind Stoke Bloke. I think towards the front it's not quite as effective when it comes to the time penalties being added. Elog now 2 seconds behind Carey, who still leads. 6 laps to go. Now he's into sector 3, and Switchback has come back into the pit and is calling it a day. It's been another day to forget for Switchback. Elog now continuing. And someone else has gone for a spin, actually. I think that's Jim Straub, who's lost it on the pit straight. And yeah, he's damaged his front wing, and he's got a whole lot to do with that damage. That might promote Tilwick off a position. We've got a virtual safety car now, and has Jim Straub binned it? Has he deliberately binned it at turn 1? Because if he has, then he's in trouble. I think he's deliberately binned it, yeah. So I think the stewards will need to have a word with him about that, because there is a rule about crashing intentionally during races. When we see drivers crashing intentionally during races, now Carey's got a drive-through penalty that he needs to serve for speeding onto the virtual safety car. Now you can see what I mean with with drivers deliberately crashing. You ruin it for the others. Now if you don't want to participate in the race anymore, you go in the pits, press pause, retire from session, and the race doesn't get affected. If you just crash like that, then you're causing an unnecessary interruption. And it's not fair on the other drivers. So I'd like to think that Carey will have a case on that. Yeah. Even Liverpool 800, who's just commented in the... Oh, Gamazinda's just gone for a spin, actually. To go back to saying with Liverpool 800, they're saying that was definitely on purpose in relation to Jim Straub's exit. I couldn't agree more with you there, to be honest with you. So how long will it be before Aaron Carey comes into the pits? Will he... Well, I don't think he's got a choice, actually, because he can cross the line twice, and then he has to pit in order to... and he's got to pit at some point before the end of the race after crossing the line twice to take the drive-through penalty. Otherwise, he will be disqualified, which means that victory will be handed over to Elog, unless Elog makes a mistake, which is unlikely. Saying that Gilby's left the session, that's not good news, because that means his car will be controlled by the AI, and that will allow Radicon to close in. So this could be a gift of position for Radicon, and Radicon is carrying a 3-second time penalty. Now, does Carey carry on? He does. Now, if Carey wants to finish this race without being disqualified, he's going to have to take this penalty. But Elog's coming into the pits for a change of tyres, which might play into the hands of Carey once he comes in for his drive-through. I think Elog may try and go for the fastest up as well, actually. Cyclonado goes up to 2nd place. but Elog will be on fresher tyres, and Psychonado will have a time penalty of 6 seconds more to serve than Elog's. And Gylfi's in the pits. That'll be controlled by the AI actually, so that's really bad news for Gylfi, the fact he's been disconnected. So yeah, Elog goes to the outside, Psychonado lets him through, he knows there's no point fighting it. Now, Carey's got to pit in at the end of this lap to serve his drive-through, otherwise he will be disqualified. Now, does he come in? Yes, he does. Now, Elog will be powering down that start-finish straight on the fresher tyres to close in on Carey. So Carey has left the exit. 2 laps to go now in this Canadian Grand Prix. Elog closing in on Carey on the fresher tyres. Four seconds is the gap between these two. And even if Elog was to get by Carey, he would have a 3-second time penalty to serve. That would not drop him behind Psychonado, because Psychonado's time penalty is 6 seconds more. Nutter moving in front of JJ. And Carey is in control now. It's a good job he took that penalty. I don't think Elog needed to hit in unless he wanted to go for the fastest lap. Or maybe he felt. Well, in fact, if Elog carried on what he was doing, he would have won this race, surely. How do you stay out? Anyway, we're on starting the final lap of this Canadian Grand Prix now. Since Pure G Jackson's retirement, Carey's been in control pretty much. But Elog just posted a new fastest lap for him. Now, in regards to the championship, Carey would move up into second place on 59 points, which would put him 11 points, or say 11 points off Psychonado. Psychonado's time penalty would still see him third, which would get him 15 points. So the gap at the top would be 26 points going into the next round in Austria next week. So here's Carey with Elog right behind him. He'll have DRS. Even that won't impact on the race win. So Carey coming through. He's had a brilliant race, a clean one as well. I know he had the drive-through penalty, but he withstood the pressure. Comes through the last 2 turns, onto the start-finish straight. Carey wins the Canadian Grand Prix in Montreal. Elog takes second place for Alfa Romeo and getting the fastest lap on the last lap. Psychonado third from the back of the grid. He extends his lead at the top of the championship. Denmark will be fourth in the Renault, ahead of Radicon, who will be fifth. A better result for Radicon than in the last couple of rounds. So Denmark fourth, Radicon fifth. Juninho's in a battle with Stokebloke for sixth place, but with Stokebloke's time penalty in comparison to Juninho's, Stokebloke will take sixth. So it's another top 6 finish for Stokebloke, which is consistent. So Juninho will drop. Oh, I think he's going to drop down to 8th place, to be honest with you, because Gylfi's coming over the line now. So Juninho does drop to 8th place. Aston Masters will be 9th, and Tilwick will take the final point in 10th place. Desimpi will be 11th, Gummerzindu 12th, Bishop's Finger 13th, Binati Nata 14th, and JJ in 15th position. But Aaron Carey is the race winner in Canada. Psychonado doing an excellent job from the back of the grid, which, you know, he started, I think, was 17th on the grid to third, which is not too bad for Psychonado. I mean, Elog a week ago came from the back of the field to third, retrospectively. So the final result of the Canadian Grand Prix. Aaron Kerry is your winner, Elog finishing second and getting the fastest lap. Cycle Nardo finishing third after starting 17th. Denmark is fourth for Renault, followed by Radicon in fifth. Stokeblade, another top six finish for him. Gilfie seventh, Ginio eighth. Aston Masters ninth, and Tilwick bagging another point for both him and for Haas in 10th place. Nisimpi was 11th, followed by Gummers Indu. Bishop Slinger was 13th. B Natinata was 14th. JJ was 15th. Jim Straub out of the race after crashing, but that will be looked at because it looks like he crashed intentionally. Switchback also retired in the pits. G Galagos also retired, and PLG Jackson, for unknown reasons, stopping in the pits. Another reminder of the championship standings. The gap is now 26 points between Cycle Nardo and Kerry, who moves up to second in the championship. We hope to see WSP, who's dropped to third in the standings, return next week in Austria, which will be in a week's time on the 30th of May, 9:30 p.m. British Summer Time. I'm Tom Cairns, and I'll speak to you again soon when the America F1 Series returns.